Welcome to the podcast of Terrace Consulting.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode 58 already of the show, of the podcast. And I think I have another new one today. We've touched loads of different segments and roles in the industry, but I didn't have anyone specifically for marketing. In this case, international content marketing at AskSuite Hotel Chatbot. Paula Carreirao, how are you?
I'm very good, Pablo. So nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much. First time we actually talked directly, but I mean, I've seen you in a million webinars because you're all over the place in social media, as it should be, as with someone in marketing. So it's a great credit to you. So first thing, as always, I want to get for people to know how it all started, because you work in hotels, you've been a hotel manager, you've been copywriter, you've been a teacher, I think I've seen somewhere in your profile. So up until now, international marketing. So go ahead. How did it go?
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. That's the hardest question for me, to be quite honest, because it is, like you said, I've done almost all. I'm not gonna say I've done it all, because but it can be a bit confusing, my career path. But trust me, people, it does have a logic behind it. Anyway, and congratulations for you, because you say like you're the 58th episode. Oh my God, I did like 11, and I feel I'm feeling like a baby here. But yeah, congratulations to you. And I also follow your work, and you also everywhere, Pablo. So doing a great job. So kudos to you as well. But anyway, going to my career path, it all started, I guess, when I got my bachelor degree in psychology. So I'm an actual psychologist, even though I can be a bit crazy. I guess you have to understand the patients. I don't know. We say that in psychology. Anyway, so I got my bachelor degree, and I moved directly to Sweden. Why not? From Rio de Janeiro to Sweden. That's something that happens every day, I guess.
So it's the other way around, no?
Yeah, it should be, right? Rio, I love Rio. But yeah, I moved to Sweden. And I couldn't speak the language Swedish. I could speak English, but not Swedish. So how you gonna be a psychologist if you don't speak the language? that is a bit hard, right? So, and you also have to have a license, to practice psychology as a psychologist. So anyway, I got in Sweden and decided, okay, what I'm gonna do first. I've learned the language, but I had to get some money. So actually my first paid job was, I was a teacher for foreigners, a Portuguese teacher for foreigners, which I've never done before. But they asked me, and I said, okay, I always love writing and the languages in general. So I thought it would be good. And it was really a good experience that I really, really like, by the way. And so I did that while I was studying Swedish and trying to get my license in Sweden, because you have to validate, and it can be a long process. So and then somewhere in between this, being a teacher and going back to psychology, I decided to try being a casino dealer. Yeah, that's completely like really crazy for me and for my family, I have to say, because in Brazil Sweden. It's for in Sweden.
All right.
So like when I called my mom and said they're gonna be a deal in casino, my mom was like, what? My mom thought it was going into the mafia, because in Brazil it's forbidden. She was like, what are you doing? And I was but because I like to play cards, and yeah, I thought it would be the same. It is not the same. If you're thinking about being a dealer, I'm gonna let you know right now, it is not the same. It's quite boring, I thought. You have a lot of security things, and not my thing. Anyway, I managed to learn Swedish, so I speak Swedish, but I couldn't get the license because they want me to do, I don't know, different courses to get the license in Sweden. But anyway, I finally got a job in a psychiatrist hospital in Sweden as an assistant to I was not the psychologist, but I was in the team. So I was basically I was giving support to patients that have to be on the hospital, and the family as well. And they were psychotic patients. And that was so funny because, you know, I could speak Swedish, but it's not my mother language and I was still learning. So sometimes when you are, well, patients were in the psychotic break, as we say, they do speak things that don't make sense, right? So I didn't know if it was me that I didn't. So it was quite fun and it helped me actually to connect with the patients because they thought, okay, she's like us kind of. And so it was actually a really good one. And that was the first time, Pablo, to be honest, that I was proud of myself. And I think we should, we can encourage everybody to celebrate their the small victories, you know, because it's something that took me a while to understand the importance of that. And that was the first time that I thought one day I saw myself, I was, okay, I'm working in Sweden in a psychiatrist hospital. I'm writing, you know, like official documents in Swedish. For me, it was such a big thing. And I felt like, okay. And after that, to be honest, anything that they gave me as a challenge, I always think like, okay, if I could do a psychiatry hospital in Sweden, I think I can do whatever you give me, you know? So yeah, anyway, I moved back to Brazil after that. And I decided that psychology was not for me anymore. I didn't want, and I was completely lost. I was around 30. So I guess you can say I was in the 30s crisis. I don't know. And like many things of my life, and the best things are not planned, they say. And for me, it's really true. One friend asked me like, oh, what you're doing? I was just back to Rio, and she was, oh, what you're doing? I was nothing. I don't know what to do actually. And she said, okay, so I have a friend that is looking for a front desk agent at her hostel. I have no idea what was the hotel industry, nothing. The only thing that I knew, like I speak 3 languages. I love to talk, as you can all see that I'm talking here. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try, but I didn't know anything about check-in process. I had nada, like revenue, whatever, nothing. And I just went for it. I'm like this. I always prefer to regret what I do than what I don't. Not sure if it's a good way of life to everybody, but for me, it works. And and I fell in love with hospitality, and it was such an amazing experience. I like to think that working the hostel especially was my university, you know, because when you are in the hostel, people that are listening, if you work in the hostel, you have to do everything, like seriously everything. So from maintenance to, you know, front desk, from management even. So I've learned the whole aspect of operations, and I love it. I really, really love it because I had contact with so many cultures. It was an international hostel, like focus on international guests. So it was great, but as a hostel, you cannot grow, you know, as a career. So I had to kind of move. Then I went to a medium-sized hotel, also as a front desk agent and reservation agent as well. And finally, I got as a general manager job position from a hotel boutique. So it was completely different from hostel, from hotel boutique, like luxurious hotel boutique. Very small, very private. And also, I like everything that I do. That's my problem, I guess. I do like everything. And there was nothing that I have done, I think, except the casino thing that I really didn't like. But all the rest, I like it and enjoy it. So I was doing good, I can say, as a hotel manager, getting some good money and all that. But I was not happy. I started to not feel happy anymore. Many hoteliers that are listening know that it is a very demanding career, and it took a toll on me. And I didn't have any life anymore. It felt like I was all the time answering something. I could not. It is my fault as well, because I couldn't disconnect and I couldn't delegate. And this is something, Pablo, that I always think about writing, because, you know, I write about, everybody writes about how to be a successful manager. I'm gonna write how not to be like a terrible one, because I was not a good one. I can say that honestly, I was not a good one. I made many mistakes. I didn't have any mentor or anyone. I was just doing things and
Trial
the
and
way I
error,
thought
no?
it. Yeah, and I was just, and I have this image of management, like micromanaging, and it so did not work, Pablo, really. So I was, okay, this is not for me. Again, another crisis, professional, and I was like already 35, 36 years old, so not that young to change again a career, right? But I decided, yeah, it was time. I have to try. And then I find out, I say I find out, but suddenly content marketing started appearing to me. When I was I'm not that old, but I am gonna be 40, almost crying here. I'm gonna be 40 soon. And I didn't know anything about digital marketing, content marketing. It didn't have in my back in the day when I was in the university. So, but then I was, oh, I can write and get money from it. Let's see what is that. And like I said before, I was really traumatized by the way I manage people and my models of management that I've got. So I did want to try to get in a company. That was my first thing when I was lost. Like, okay, what kind of company before the content marketing, but what kind of company I want to work for? That was my first thing, my first focus. And I want to try startups, because was a big deal about startups and everybody talking about how the management is totally different and it's not traditional. And so it started with what the kind of company, then starts, okay, have content marketing. That sounds interesting. And finally, and one day in the LinkedIn, because I love LinkedIn, I'm there all the time. Please connect with me if you're listening. I'm there all the time. And I found Rodrigo, who is the CEO of AskSuite. Rodrigo's post about a chatbot for hotels, and I have no idea what it was, a chatbot anyway. And I read it and I was like, oh my God, my life would be so much easier if I had a robot working for me, especially answering questions. So that's how I got to AskSuite. Back then, that was a little bit more than 2 years ago. Back then, they were just starting. They didn't have marketing team. They only have one person in marketing. They didn't have any job positions opening. But I was just following them, and let them know I was there. They opened a job positioning, which was not marketing, but I applied anyway. And I convinced them that I wanted to be part of what they were doing. I believed in the product. I believed in the company. I really like in their interview, the people that interview me. So I thought this is a really, really good company to be connected to, because, I do believe, Pablo, that you are who you're surround. It's part of you, who you're surround. So that's how I got in AskSuite. And later they got the marketing of job positioning in was a year ago. Then I transferred to marketing. And this is basically like, yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. I was taking notes. So from psychology in Brazil up to Sweden, learning the language, practicing there with the psychiatrist word, and then back to Brazil and all the way through hospitality. You get into marketing, a chatbot, and you get into a role international content marketing, which is not translating. And you left it very clear on the internet. So go explain yourself. What does it mean to be an international content marketing?
Yeah, like I said, many things are not playing in my life. This was not really, I wanted content marketing. I was not expecting international content marketing, but, and I hardly have any experience. Well, I didn't have any experience, right, to be honest. And Rodrigo knows that, so it's no secret. I had no experience back then in content marketing or international content marketing. So the company wanted to be more global, want to go global. And then we start thinking, okay, how you start a company? You are well established in one market like Brazil, for say, and how you're gonna get how you gotta get know and get clients and leads and all that from another country. And the first thing that people do, and they're right to do it, is translating everything, right? Because otherwise no one will understand you. But to actually, what is content? What is marketing? Marketing is connecting. You have to connect with people. Not sell. If you just do a sales speech or whatever, and the person doesn't understand, or it's not their problem. They won't buy it. They won't. And especially now, have so much in digital, in the digital world. So you have to connect. It's the basics of marketing. And the case that I always keep saying, that you said that international content marketing is not translation, is that what works for one target audience might not work for another one. It could work, but it might not work, because you do have the whole culture behind. You have the problems can be a general manager. I'm sure that a general manager in Brazil doesn't have the same problems as in the UK or in Australia, and they don't have the same interests in it. So like the content itself, you might have to change. And even if the content is the same, like, okay, they both are struggling with, they downsize their hotels and they need automation, to help them. Okay, it's the same problem, but the way you communicate that, it's very different. If you just translate it, you have the possibility of really going wrong. If I don't know, if one country people talk more directly, the other country people like more informal, you do have to really do a research of your new target, and that's a lot of work. That's not easy. That's not an easy thing. And especially like I am doing international content for a country that is not Brazil. It would be, if I wasn't working in an American company that was going to Brazil, it would be easier for me because I understand my culture. So I have a double challenge here because it's not my countries, because it's more than one. So what I do is, people ask me, so what you do? Yeah, I read a lot. I talk a lot. Like I not only interview, but I chat. You have to be really, really active, active, trying to understand this new persona. And yeah, it's a lot of tests, like marketing it is. So it's part of the job. But that is why I always say that translating, it is not enough. I'm not saying that you shouldn't translate, please. No, it's not like that. But it's not enough if you want to stand out, of course. If you want to really do a good job, then you're going to have to put a lot of effort behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, so a lot of talking, taking care of the cultural differences, being mindful about them, connecting with people, and testing to make sure you find the right buying persona on the market. Got it. Good. Now, we are in, I don't know what kind of a scenario in the pandemic, and whenever we release this, probably we are going in next stage. But from your point of view, are you more of a pragmatist or an optimist? How do you see it? And this is just a personal point of view, no commitment here. Okay?
Yeah. Just one thing though, because just to complement what I was saying before, when I talk international content marketing, people tend to think that I'm talking about companies like companies. People that are listening to think that hotels do that. If your hotel is focused on international guests, you are doing international content marketing, because just to be clear, like you do this as a front desk agent, not a content marketing, but it is part of, when you deal with different cultures, you do have to have this in mind all the time. Even if you speak good English, you have to, be careful to how you say and what you say. So just to be clear that it works, or international content marketing works for, I think, any business that have. Yeah.
This is a good example. If you're working in reception, depending on, I'm thinking from the receptionist point of view, depending on where the guest is from, you're going to be closer or less, the physical distance, for example, shaking hands or not, or bowing, for example, if it's an Asian, the car with two hands. Yeah, true, good point. So that way, depending on the culture, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's, and one thing that I've learned very fast, well, actually, when I was teaching foreigners, because teaching foreigners is the same, like I said, it's like many many areas you can use that, this knowledge of always thinking about the culture, not only translating words. Well, we Brazilians, we tend not to say no. We have a problem. So if you're listening, you have a Brazilian guest. We do have a problem. We don't say, like, if you ask me, Pablo, oh, Paula, can you do this interview another day? It's really rarely we say, no, I don't. No, I can't. We're going to say the whole story to make, because we feel bad saying no. And in other countries and in other cultures, they have no problem saying no, you know, like, oh, can you do that? No. Do you want to change rooms? No. And then I thought it was I got so offended, you know, and it got personal, like, why this person is saying so directly no. And when I'm talking about when I teach, because I had a student that said that, I remember clearly that when I said, oh yeah, would you like the classes to, I don't know, involve more exercise about grammar? No. And she just stopped. She didn't explain why no. She said, no. And I thought it was so rude. But then again, I understood that that's how she works. So yeah, for sure, hoteliers, if they're listening, or any kind of professional in hospitality or whatever, if you deal with different cultures, please don't forget about the culture behind. To speak the language, like the words, it's of course the basic, but it is not enough for a good communication, for real communication. Yeah. So sorry, I had to just explain, because this topic I really, really love. But if you're going back to your question, sorry, Pablo, about the pandemic, I'm gonna say that I am optimist. I'm always is. I try to be, but I do have my feet on the ground, I guess to say in English. I do not think that, oh yeah, as soon as the vaccine, I don't know, they're starting now in UK, it's gonna take a while to get to all the countries, and people still, I can listen and hear people saying that they're still not sure, even with the vaccine, if they're gonna work or not. So anyway, I don't think it will be, oh yeah, magically we're gonna all be happy, and everybody gonna be traveling again, everything back to normal. I don't think back to normal as it will ever happen. It's my opinion, at least. When I say that, I mean that, for example, technology in the hotels, I think that was a good thing about the pandemic, if you can say that. I think hotels are very traditional, I think all around the world, from what I'm talking with, you know, other professionals, and they were almost forced to now to say, hey, I have to use something. Yeah, I'm not saying that you have to just use technology or use all the technology all at the same time. No, please don't go crazy. But I think the technology in the industry will continue and grow. So back to normal in terms of operations I don't think won't happen. And in terms of travel demand, I think will happen. Of course, it will land eventually, not so fast. And yes, hotels will need to really reinvent and adapt while this is going on. I mean, like I said, I used to work in a hotel that was basically international guests. So yeah, what you do now? You're gonna have to try to be local, or we are seeing hotels, they are offering places to work, because not everybody can work from home. Has a good experience work from home. I'm lucky, I live alone, but you know, if you have kids and all that, so yeah, you do have some possibilities of new revenue, to generate new revenue, but it will take some creative and some research and yeah, some work. Yeah, but I am optimistic that if you do the work, you go through this, and eventually, not so fast, but eventually would go back to
where it was. I mean, you were saying that hotels are not, they weren't the first ones that put it nicely to adapt to technology. Yeah, I see that every day when I used to work in hotels when I was a consultant, but now they've been forced to. So you work in a high-tech company, let's put it like that, a really advanced chatbot solution for hotels. So what is from what you've seen working in hotels in the past and now working for a tech company, how do you see that investment from hotels? Are they more into investing mainly forced for the situation? Are they more embracing the tech and the mindset is changing? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think they're changing. I think they're starting to see that it's, of course, you have all kind of technologies, Pablo, but they are starting to considering at least some as not nice to have, like we say, it's a must have. I remember it's not so long ago, I used to be a hotelier. It's like, what, 4 years ago? And I work in a hotel that, for example, didn't have a channel management, system. It's crazy. It is crazy. Like today you have like, it was always, oh my God, it's overbooking got overbooking. I have to close this and that. It is a necessity for today's, because you do have to distribute, especially now have low demand and all that. And in our case, about communication, how can you handle, like a single person can handle, especially now all the hotels downsize, basically. And then you have a poor agent there. They have to answer email, web chat, I don't know, WhatsApp, some countries are big, Facebook. Because one thing too, Pablo, I think you might agree with me, I don't know your perspective on that, but we are seeing that a lot of Instagram profiles are becoming almost a website, in terms of people. It's not just advertising, it's not just marketing, it's not just pictures. People want to contact you there. They want to service there. They don't want to go any. That happens actually in any channel. If they start talking to you on Facebook, they don't want you to ask you, oh, please send them an email. Whatever business you're talking about, not only a hotel. I hate as a customer. I really, really hate. Like, why? You're talking to me here, so why can't you just continue, Oh no, you have to send an email to do a reservation, or you have to call to the reservation. Or that happens in all channels, and it's human impossible. If you're just one, it's many hotels, small hotels, independent hotels, medium size, they have 1 or 2 people. We want to be the travel demander back. We want that. We want to have a lot of requests. And how this person would do it if you don't have the technology to help it won't happen. And if the person won't answer fast, and if you don't provide a service, some kind of service, they're gonna go to another hotel. No one eats anymore for nothing. So yeah, so technology, have some technologies like PMS. I used to work in a hotel also to have Excel. Like, what? Yeah, you don't have, in Brazil have still, in Latin America still have many hotels there. Though they think, oh, because we are small, we don't need. Yes, you need. You not only because of the amount of work, and your personnel should be doing strategic things, not putting manually data, and you're not collecting valuable data as well when you don't have technology. And you need data to understand your business, you understand your guests, understand everything. So yeah, so I think there are, just to finish, yeah, I think even though they do have a financial crisis, of course, so it's not that it's something, it might be still not a priority per se, but it's getting up and upper in the list, because I think hotels are really understanding that they need some kind of solution. You can just be humans to do a good job.
Yeah, I think now it's about some of them say, well, it's a difficult situation financially, of course, so I don't have the money to invest or to spend, sorry, but then it's not spending, it's investing. So, and I've been talking lately with people from finance and people from HR, and in both those departments, there's a lot to do or to be done in terms of technology. So there's a lot of stuff being done manually. For example, somebody from finance was telling me for Interconti that there doesn't seem to be like international standard when it comes to, apart you Sally, but so there's a lot of manual entering numbers in there. Whenever that comes and there's sort of a standard, that manpower won't be needed for that purpose. So they can be focused on something else. Maybe.
Yes.
And the same with HR. So that this person from HR was telling me loads of paperwork to be done. Why do we need to do manually? You have the software, you can dedicate as HR to nurture people, to train people, whatever it is, but not paperwork. So as you say,
yeah, exactly. Like how many times I'm sure people, hoteliers that are listening to me right now, I am 100% sure. How many times did you answer the same email, like check-in time? Like, it's boring for the agent. The agent is not doing that with a happy face. I'm pretty sure after the second email of the day, you're like, oh my God, here he goes. And it's not good for the guests because especially if you're talking, and then you get a new, oh, yeah, checking, we don't want humans to act like machines, like, saying the same thing over and over. We want humans to shine, and you don't do that. It's not in our nature to keep doing, like Charlie Chaplin's movie, back in the day. It is not. And it's like the human resource is the most valuable thing you have in any company, any kind of industry. So you really should focus the human resource in things that actually add value to your company, to your business, and not just repeating themselves. It doesn't make sense for me.
And there's another point I want to check with you, because hotels, obviously they're companies, they are created to generate revenue, and now more than ever they need to try to grab the last euro, dollar, wherever it is that they can grab or generate. Now the use of that technology can help them generate that extra income, right? So can you give me an example of how could something like a chatbot help a hotel make more money?
Yeah, chatbot can collect really valuable information from guests, so you can personalize your offering, and you can do even upsell, because like you said, the demand is still going to be low. I think so. So you do have to try to make that person that it's willing to travel to spend the most, that you can really make it worth it, each guest in terms of revenue. And things like chatbots or a PMS or whatever, they can collect a really valuable data, so you understand your guests and you can offer what they want, and more than that, you can showcase them, because sometimes, most of times, they don't even know what exactly the hotel has, because again, no one gonna goes through each tab of your home website to understand that you have this store or whatever, a restaurant, or I don't know, spa.
I was talking with a spa manager the other day, and she was telling me, how frustrating it is for me to hear guests when they check out saying, oh, do you have a spa in the hotel? I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly this. Because probably, and it's not the agent's fault. I truly, firmly believe everybody that is hospitality, to be in hospitality, you have to love it, because it is a really demanding job. So I honestly think that almost every agent wants to do their best, but it is a time pressure. It is like you have to answer the phone, and you have to answer the guest in front of you, and you have to answer the email, and then you start doing things kind of automatically, but not in a good way. And I think the pre-booking is really important. It's when the guests have the time. It's when it is planning. So if they know the information there that you have the spa, or if they have whatever, the chances are much higher that they will spend more money with you, and you're gonna build a good. It's not, and then again, it's not just selling for selling. I don't believe in that. I also honestly believe in personalizing and all that. So yeah, if you can get a profile of the guest. When I used to work in one of the hotels that I used to work in, was a front desk agent, actually. When we have a lot of we call habitués. I don't know if you call it too, like, regular guests.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is like for a corporate, especially corporate hotels, your staff, they have to know these people that are coming all the time, because it's so easy, to provide the best service, because they are like every week there, and to get even more revenue from them, because they trust you and they know you, and you know what they want. They know that every week they go out for a restaurant, and you have a restaurant, so and things like that. So I do think that hotels, they keep focusing on selling the room, and this is like, oh, sell the room, and they sometimes lose the perspective of all the other things that they can generate revenue, and not only generate revenue, just not to get more money, but generate the best experience for the guests as well. It's a win-win for me.
Yeah, exactly, which is the most important thing, to make sure they leave with better than the way they arrive, basically, which is what you want from a hotel, to make sure that they enjoy and leave with a smile. Next question is about talent. You're saying about HR being the most important thing. Now, I tend to ask everybody in the podcast to share some advice and tips for young people, especially now. You have people, especially, I guess, young people who might be reconsidering if going into the hospitality is a good decision, given the current scenario. But then you moved. I mean, you're a psychologist by trade, right? And then here you are, right? So, and there was this word that you mentioned, multipotentialite. So I love it, because I'm not sure what it means. So you're gonna explain it now. No, but I mean, it's at least I'm thinking about Spanish mentality. If you study something, you have to work in that industry forever. Then we all have different skills that they are transferable skills. So I want you to expand in there, link it on advice to young people to trust in themselves and see that there are different ways. And you are a great example of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for this question. And it is also a topic that I really enjoy talking about. And I think, like you said perfectly, I used to feel when I was younger, I used to feel this pressure of I have to know what I want to do. I have to choose a path and grow in that path. And this is a huge pressure, I think. And I thought I was a alien, because like, even in my family, to be honest, like, well, my dad is a doctor, so he always wanted to be a doctor. My brother is a lawyer. He always wanted to be a lawyer. I'm the black sheep of the family because I like a lot of things. That's what multipotentialite means. To be a multipotentialite is you basically have different interests, but you have difficulty of choosing one because you don't want to miss the others. You have this like this anxious, I don't know how to call it. Yeah. And the thing is, what I learned, that it's a true multipotentialite. You don't have to feel guilty, first of all. If you I'm not sure if I'm try. Do you feel like it's a good? You're not gonna lose anything. That's one thing. People sometimes, I used to think about myself like, oh my God, I waste my my degree. I waste my years in hotel, whatever, because now I'm marketing. No, I didn't waste any job experience, any experience in your life. You can apply, like say, it's transferable. You can transfer to another that you're going to. You don't start from zero. I don't like this starting from zero, because you never start from zero. So for young, if I could say an advice for myself, even when I was younger, first of all, don't be afraid if it's not what if at the end it was not what you're thinking about, that you thought. It is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong in changing paths. It is possible. I'm not the only one. I have many people there, especially now with the crisis. People are reinventing themselves. It's such a good experience as well. In a sense of you have such a set skill that maybe someone that only worked in one thing doesn't have. Everything have pros and cons, of course. Sometimes I do think like, okay, I changed it so much, so I could be in a higher position right now if I have started marketing a few years back, but maybe I wouldn't be as good as I am now, because for sure psychology helped me in marketing, for sure hospitality helped me in marketing, and it all makes sense. So yeah, don't feel that pressure that you have to be one thing. Of course, try to talk to people. I didn't do that, and I regret. Try to talk to people. People are much more approachable than you think. That's one thing I've learned the last few years. You're always scared, like, oh, I'm gonna talk to this person. He's like a big thing, and most of people are really nice, seriously, and they will like to share with you some advice or how they ask if you're thinking about, okay, I'm thinking about being a revenue manager, I don't know, talk to people that actually do the work, because one thing is when you read, the other thing, theory is not the same, never in any area. So talk to people. Don't be shy. I think you it is hard, I know, for some people to not be shy, but try to do it, because it is worth it. It is worth it. And yeah, and just like I said, don't feel ashamed if you change careers. Don't feel like a failure. I used to feel like a failure. Like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like I said, don't do that. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Especially now, I think the younger generation might deal better than my generation, I think, because they do change a lot, at least companies, more than we used to do. But careers also, it's happening a lot. And yeah, just do what you like, as long as it's good, and, you know, as long as you're happy, do it. If you start being like, okay, this is not, I'm not saying don't, okay, I'm sorry, Pablo, I don't want to be like, okay, throw everything throw everything and just start over. No, it's not like that. But if you start, your mental health, it's really important. Your purpose, sense of purpose, it's really important. Money is important as well. But you have to try to find everything that it, you know, satisfies you in all aspects. So yeah, it doesn't, I wish I could have a recipe. I really wish. What maybe my career path, I love my career path, but it might sound completely insane to people. Some people that are listening, and I do know some people that really happy doing the same thing. So yeah, it doesn't have a recipe. Just follow, just follow your heart, kind of. I saw some.
That's what you're saying, is like follow your sense of purpose, and it could be, it's different for everyone. So I mean, obviously, if someone is happy doing all their life the same thing, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna, who is anyone else to tell them what to do?
Yeah.
But no, but I like what you're saying. Is like, for people who are not sure, who put a lot of pressure on themselves. Am I a failure if I change? Am I good enough to try something different? Yeah, go ahead, try it. You know, well, you always have a no already. You know that. You know, so
Yeah,
just give it a
exactly.
try. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The only thing, sorry, the only thing that I think that I would say it's an advice per se is like a don't, which I think don't stay, don't freeze, don't, you have to keep moving. Whatever you're doing, keep learning, or keep, you know, keep keep moving. That's the thing, because I think some people start, have some people that it seems like they freeze or something, and then nothing happens. Of course, you're not, you have to put yourself out there, you have to, you know, learn things and talk to people. Yeah, movement is everything in life, I think.
So I'm not sure exactly about the quote, but I heard a quote something like, the world is always moving. So if you want to advance, it's not only, you cannot just keep the pace of the world, you have to go faster to advance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, you just
Yeah.
go behind.
Exactly. And for young people, like you're saying, that want thinking about hospitality, oh my God, I'm not that old, and how much has changed in hospitality, in the hotel industry. And I'm talking about the procedures now. And I think if I also, another maybe advice, focus on the soft skills. Soft skills, they will always be your best aspect, you know, because you can learn much more easier to, I don't know, manage a tool than to how to handle a conflict. You know, it takes much more, much harder work to improve your soft skill than any technical hard skill that you have. So focus on that. They're important. In hospitality, I can think about communication, conflict. Yes, you will deal with conflict. That's one thing that I was not prepared. That it was, it is hard when you have angry guests in front of you the first time, you know, it is hard. Even if it's your fault, it's hard because you feel ashamed. And if it's not your fault, it's also hard because you feel angry because it's not your fault. So yeah, so be prepared to that, and also be prepared to experience so many great things. I do love hospitality. I think it's magical that you are in the same you are in a hotel, you're not traveling, and you have access to so many different cultures and people. I think this is so cool. Seriously, what's the best thing about it for me?
Good. Note taken as well. One last thing I want to ask you. It's about, I tend to ask most people if they have any cause, anything they defend or have is close to their heart. And you're telling me about the game show for good organized by Guest Review on the 11th of December. So what is it all about? How did it go? I mean, what is it?
Game show, it is an action, an event that actually Guest Review is put together. Invited some professionals and then hospitality professionals. I'm one of the guests, and we're gonna do basically it's a game show with it's a quiz, and it's a fun thing. For the main goal is to raise funds for hospitality action, and I'm gonna just read it here, Pablo, so I don't say wrong the name of the organization, right? Because it will be horrible. Yeah, hospitality action. It is, I said right. You can find them on LinkedIn, and they have a website. And Hospitality Action, it's an organization that helps thousands of families. They are really focused on the hospitality industry. So especially now, of course, with the COVID crisis, they do many, they support in many ways. Now they're actually supporting financially because a lot of people lost their jobs. So they are doing that. But they also help with the health, emotionally and health well-being of the hoteliers. So all the funds that we raise in this game show will be directly to them. And yeah, and I think it's one thing that I thought it was positive, if you can say that, about the pandemic. It is that I found that our community in a whole got together. And I think that's really, really cool. And I hope that continues. Hotel tech companies, they got together, even though they could be competitors per se, but they're not. Hotels got together, because everybody was affected by the crisis. So I hope this continues. And yeah, this game show is for it's our way of giving some support of the people that it's suffering the most in the hospitality.
Back to the community.
Yeah.
Okay. Hospitality, and actually, I'll put the name on the comments there.
Yeah,
okay,
thank
so
you.
Thank you for bringing it up to the conversation. So recapping, I have here taking notes from the conversation. So it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. That kind of the quote that I took from you. It's bold to change, but hey, you embrace change non-stop. So and you have to be proud of what you do. That's another piece of advice you've given in there. Adapt to guests' needs, and technology is part of that as well. So you cannot force them to go to one way. It could be an email. It can be many ways of communication. So hotels in this case need to really adapt to what the guests are demanding and be flexible in that sense. Multipotentialite. So we're talking about being open to lots of different ideas, projects, and give it a try. There's nothing to lose. You say reinventing yourself, talk to people, don't be shy, give it a try. Don't feel like a failure if you're changing. It could be a cultural thing, but you say, hey, you're doing it several times. And sense of purpose, very important as well. Don't do something just for the sake of it. Try to find something that is more relevant, is closer to your heart. And soft skills, very, very important in our industry. Okay. These are not taken. Anything else to finalize from your side?
One thing that I've learned from working a startup, and it was very difficult for me, again, since we're talking about for young people, it is, how we say it, it is better done than perfect. Don't wait for the perfect time to start things. It does take a lot of courage to do it. For me, it's really hard. Still is. When I start doing, for example, podcasts, I was completely scared, and I wanted to do perfect. I was, oh my God, but my English is not perfect. But I don't know how to look to the camera. And I was not postponed. And then Rodrigo actually was one of the biggest supporters and said, do it. Just do it and we'll see. And so that's what I'm going to tell you. Even don't wait for there's almost never the perfect opportunity for some, you know. You have to just grab the opportunity that you have, do what you can, and do your best. Do always your best, and feel good about it that you're doing your best. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Feel good with yourself for giving it a try. Better done than perfect. Great sentence to finish.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's all from my side. Thank you again very much for your time. I'm blurry there. We said hospitality in action to support the community, and of course, AskSuite Hotel Chatbot for your tool. Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Okay, in touch.
Thank you so much, Pablo. It was a pleasure.
That was all for now. Hope you found it useful. Remember that you have more information on our website www.torresconsulting.co.uk, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Twitter. Stay well. Goodbye for now.